Meanwhile, Steel City was a bit shell-shocked after Big Ben referred to playing next season as an if. However, his coach not surprised that the 35-year-old was contemplating walking away. Mike Tomlin also addressed Antonio Brown in that infamous locker room Facebook Live. Yeah, you remember that. And his behavior after the AFC Championship loss.
He said it, so you do take it seriously. And, I think that's a fair assessment in terms of where he is in his career. I'm not alarmed by it. I just think that's football. Obviously, I'm hopeful that he returns, and his return, obviously, or potential for his return or not returning will weigh heavily in our planning. But I'm not alarmed or surprised by that thought process. That's life. He's a significant component, the most significant component of what it is that we do, and we'll plan and react accordingly. I'm going to continue to challenge him in the ways that I've challenged him over the course of his career, to continue to find new ways to be an impact player for us, to continue to grow within the role that is his role on this team. He's a dynamic player. There are responsibilities that come with being a dynamic player. I'm going to ask him to continue to grow in those areas.
Well, now the party can start because Damian Woody's in the house. How we feeling?
I'm good. Stephen A. avoiding me again as usual.
Man, what
you
doing there? What you doing?
I wasn't aware. Wherever he is, I don't know.
I wasn't aware that you was on the show today. I didn't know you were allowed on the show today. I mean, what you doing here? What you doing here for? Why you always coming when I'm not there? You running from me. When I'm in studio, I can't find you.
Maybe you two are the same person or something. Either someone's like, in other words, you're never in the same place at the same time, you two.
Yeah, because when I'm in Bristol, he's hiding. He's hiding.
No.
I like how you flip that, Stephen, and click on your feet.
No, whatever.
That's called flipping the script.
He tries.
He's got that down. Stephen A., I know you were pretty salty after your Pittsburgh Steelers loss. What should the panic level be there in Pittsburgh?
The panic level should be, I would say, at about a 6. Do I think that Ben Roethlisberger is going to retire? No, I do not. I think this offense is high-powered. I think he believes in it. I think the Antonio Brown distraction was a small matter. It should not have happened. He was right. It was right for him to be fined. It was right for him to be called out by Coach Tomlin and Big Ben Roethlisberger. They're both class personified. They're highly professional, and they're highly productive. And they were right to say what they said about Antonio Brown, who's a big-time receiver and a decent person, but should know better than what he did. He betrayed this team, and it's just that simple. You got to address that, which they did. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it's ultimately small because Antonio Brown showed up. He was just doubled all day long, 7 receptions for 77 yards. It wasn't his fault that guys couldn't catch passes, whether it's Jesse James, whether it's this kid Hamilton, whether it's Coates, or dropping passes and all of that stuff. But I do believe what Big Ben Roethlisberger is contemplating is the load that he has to carry. He wants that dissipated and diminished significantly. When you look at the Steelers, their offense was ranked 10th overall. They had like the 5th ranked passing attack, 14th ranked rushing attack. You don't need Le'Veon Bell being suspended for 3 games. You don't need Martavis Bryant being suspended for the year because they can't stay off the weed. But what you really, really don't need if you're Ben Roethlisberger is having to go out there feeling like you got to score every single possession because your defense can't stop anybody. Now, the Steelers' defense came on strong in the second half of the season, but we all know how highly suspect their defense is. They have no pass rush to speak of. Their linebackers with Shazam, Harrison, and Timmons, obviously you're happy with that to some degree, but their secondary stinks. Mitchell, Sean Davis, Cockrell. I mean, just the list goes on and on. You just look at these, Artie Burns. These are young guys, Artie Burns and those guys, rookies. You got to believe that they can do something. But until they do it, that puts so much pressure on Big Ben, and you just don't want to. But I don't want to hear all of this stuff about he's wearing down. You know that in 14 games Ben Roethlisberger played, y'all, he was only sacked 17 times. It's been worse for him. It's just that this defense needs to get better. That's what Tomlin should be focusing on.
Panic in Pittsburgh? No, not at all. Now, look, that's because, Stephen A., I agree with you, what you said yesterday. Ben Roethlisberger's talking retirement because he's down in the dumps right now because his team, he just got humiliated. That's why he's feeling bad. He'll come around. He'll be fine. Now, if for some reason he actually retires, panic time. You ain't got a quarterback. You ain't got it. I mean, that's the whole thing. And you have a great future Hall of Fame quarterback on this team, so you're fine. But it's not just the quarterback. Let's start at the top. maybe the best ownership in sports. I mean, it's one of them. The Rooney family, the franchise, the history of the franchise, the way it continues to be run. How about the coach? Top 3? I mean, there's Belichick 1. You want to say Pete Carroll, Mike Tomlin? He's right there. You want to say top 5? I'd say top 3. How about I mentioned the quarterback. How about the best runner in the game in LaDainian Tomlinson? How about an all-time elite receiver and a really good offensive line and a defense that improved throughout the season? You want to panic over that? How about the fact that you're in a division with the Browns and the perennial disappointment that is the Cincinnati Bengals if and when they make the playoffs? This is time to panic. Minimum 20 other teams in the NFL would sign up for the Pittsburgh Steelers' problems right now. This is, unless Ben Roethlisberger actually retires, everyone in Pittsburgh, calm down. You're going to be fine.
Geez, Max, I actually agree with you on this one, brother. Listen, absolutely. The first things first. What Ben Roethlisberger is talking right now, it's what a lot of guys do right after the season. You're still full of emotion. You're still hurting and all those type of things. So what he was talking on the radio, a lot of guys would do that. You contemplate, man, maybe I should, or, maybe step away from the game, but I don't anticipate that happening. If he's talking about that, maybe off-season program, minicamp, then I would be scared at that point. But right now, that's no reason to be scared. Listen, Antonio Brown, the Pittsburgh Steelers have already addressed the whole Facebook Live thing. Antonio Brown, one of the best receivers in the National Football League. We know that the Pittsburgh Steelers as an organization, they probably do just as good of a job or probably better than anyone at developing wide receivers. But when we talk about Antonio Brown, we're talking about one of the premier wide receivers in the National Football League. Now, the question is, how can they help their team? How can they help their organization? One, that hopefully they get Martavis Bryant back after the 1-year suspension. That's another key cog to their offense. But my problem is defensively. Mike Tomlin, and I would say most people would agree Mike Tomlin is one of the better head coaches in the National Football League. But that was an embarrassment, in the AFC Championship game, considering you come from a defensive pedigree. And to go out there and seem like to have no adjustments to what the Patriots were doing. I mean, guys are just running scot-free. All the receivers, I'm sitting there watching the game, I'm like, okay, are these defensive players going to touch the wide receivers? Guys are just running free, looking like 7-on-7 out there. So for me, I don't worry about Big Ben. I don't worry about Antonio Brown. Quite frankly, I don't worry about the offense. It's the defense I worry about. I know they're young on the back end, but I didn't see any adjustments that would, make me feel like, Mike Tomlin, come on, man. Like, you're supposed to be one of the better head coaches. We got to do better than this because, frankly, you got embarrassed in the AFC Championship game.
Well, I appreciate Damian Woody being the prophet that he is. Your wisdom is very, very special to hear.
Don't set me up. You're throwing it like an alley-oop right now.
I'm not setting you up right now. Don't interrupt me when I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, okay? What I'm saying to you is that I'm touched that you basically listened to me yesterday and today, because that's essentially what I said. This comes down to their defense, and for you to have the wisdom to lean on my words of wisdom. I'm very touched, Damian. I'm very touched. There's hope for you after all.
Did you criticize Mike Tomlin? Did you criticize Mike Tomlin? Did you?
I had to.
Okay.
Did I not, Max?
I'm just making sure.
Is that not true, Max? I actually had to.
Let me ask you this, guys. Let me ask you this.
It broke my heart because I love the man.
I know the words. When Terry Bradshaw used the word cheerleader, that caused a lot of consternation in Steelers Nation and for Mike Tomlin. But we get the drift, right? I mean, the idea is motivator, but maybe parenthetically not strategist. Is that what you're saying, Damian Woody?
Hey, the mark of any great head coach is adjusting, in-game adjustments. Did you see any in-game adjustments from the Pittsburgh Steelers? I know when I'm watching the New England Patriots, they really did the same thing that they've been doing year in, year out when they play the Pittsburgh Steelers. They just empty everybody out. They don't even really try to run the ball. They just throw the ball over the field. I didn't even see anyone from Pittsburgh really contest New England wide receivers. So if we're going to sit here and claim that Mike Tomlin is this great coach, you got to adjust. You got to do something to slow down.
Stephen A, say this? If we take cheerleader away and put in motivator, but saying not a strategist, do you agree with that?
No, because if Terry Bradshaw was saying this based on Sunday's game, we can't say anything. But Terry Bradshaw was saying that about the career of Mike Tomlin. And there's nothing in Mike Tomlin's career that warranted Terry Bradshaw saying what he said. That was wrong. But this past Sunday was a bad, bad day for Mike Tomlin Keith Butler, and that Pittsburgh
You tell me
Steelers
Mike
defense.
Tomlin's
There is
available
no
as a
doubt
head
about
coach,
that.
and I got a team. Sign me up.